The New York Rangers are making moves as the first round of cuts from training camp have been revealed. We're going to break that down as well as multiple updates from head coach Mike Sullivan on a few players in particular and what he's looking for from them this season. And it's going to have Rangers fans absolutely fired up because things are about to change for this team. We're going to break all of that down and some roster decisions that I think are very interesting in this episode of Rangers Digest. But before we do that, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 77% of you who watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel. So if you want to stay up to date with everything that's happening with your New York Rangers, go down below, hit that free subscribe button because this channel is built for blue shirt fandom, and it is the place to be for all your daily New York Rangers content. That's right, daily New York Rangers content. It's just going to ramp up with the regular season just a week and a half away at this point. But let's dive right into it. The Rangers are making moves, and the first couple cuts have come by way of sending some players back to junior, and we're going to break it down here. The first one is Nathan Aspinall has been assigned to his junior team, the Flint Firebirds of the OHL. Now, this is a little bit of older news at this point, and at the time I'm recording this, they're going to have a morning skate, and we're going to have you covered for that. And that's going to give us some insight into what the lines are looking like as we creep closer and closer to finalizing and solidifying this lineup heading into the regular season. So we're going to have some more content later today on that specifically because obviously they play tonight against the Islanders. But for the time being, just a few updates. Now, Nathan Aspinall, nothing crazy, right? Spent a lot of time in the OHL. Spent some time at the end of last year in the AHL. He played 5 games, put up 0 points, and he was also a -2. So a little bit of a gap there, that's for sure, to make that jump. But keep in mind, just a year ago, a 5th round pick. So he's going to be taking his time, all of those things. They gave him a pretty good look, and he was getting, some decent opportunities there, mixed in on the 4th line as well. So they gave him a pretty good look here in the preseason. And I think he might be a player that, they're keeping an eye on here as they send him back to junior for the future. So that's the first move that they're making there. Now, let's dive into some updates from head coach Mike Sullivan. And, not only that, some thoughts from Vince Mercogliano, because things are going to get very interesting here over the course of the next couple days at this point, if not hours, because obviously we're going to see another game and what some of the lines are going to be looking like tonight. So Vince Mercogliano put out this article about, some things to ponder on as we head closer to the regular season, and the fact that there's some lineup decisions being made right now that are, leading us to believe some guys are going to make the team over some younger players, and some fans are not happy about it. I understand you want guys with NHL experience in the lineup, but I have to say, choosing at this point in time Juuso Parssinen over Noah Laba, and we'll get to that more specifically in a second, is quite shocking. So Mike Sullivan went on to say that it's an inevitability on making some tough decisions and dividing the roster at this stage in camp. There are always difficult decisions. As we said to the players, just because we made these decisions today doesn't mean they're etched in stone. So any player can turn heads. But the thing for me is Noah Laba, for example, has been turning heads all preseason, and Juuso Parssinen still getting looks in the main group over him. So I think that's very interesting. Right now, they're penciled in a group with like Gabe Perreault, Noah Laba, and they're experimenting with some guys on the left and the right wings. So it's going to be interesting. For some reason, they're stapled together. Brett Berard's in the mix too. It's almost not even looking likely like Brett Berard's going to make the team. A lot of interesting decisions happening right now that I don't necessarily agree with, but I am curious. Let me know how you feel down there in the comments. He also went on to say, Sheary is making things very interesting. Connor Sheary is 33 years old. He's been under Mike Sullivan before in Pittsburgh. I think Sheary is a fine player, but do you really want Sheary in the lineup over Brett Berard, who could probably give you exactly what Connor Sheary does, is younger, is hungrier? We've seen him in the NHL over a pretty substantial, sample size at this point, and he has been really good. So why wouldn't he make the team? I understand the question mark with Brendan Othman at this point. Huge question mark there. But Brett Berard, I think, should have a spot on this team on the 3rd line. The real question, elsewhere is Gabe Perreault. Does he make the team? Noah Laba, right? And positional need, Laba should be the 3rd line center in my eyes. But anyway, some interesting stuff there for us to ponder over the next couple hours, couple days as we creep closer to the regular season. And I thought this was cool too. Check out this article as well. Great read. Noah Laba told me that he's felt nerves before his first preseason games with the New York Rangers, but sees that as a good thing. And he went on to say, this is a quote, "I like to think I rise to the occasion. Why don't you want this guy on the team? Like, when you watch the games, I know they're very particular and coaches are looking for very specific things in terms of, poise with the puck and these little detail plays, right? These smart plays that young players don't always make when it's crunch time in a game. Noah Laba, to me, has been explosive. He's hungry. He rises to the occasion. He's leading the team in points through the preseason, which I know a lot of guys are not even getting into games or that many games, like Panarin, for example. But this guy's hungry and he wants it. Don't you want to reward a player like that with that position? And listen, if it's not going well a couple games into the season, maybe you look at sending him back down. I know there's some complications with certain players and waivers and stuff like that, of course. But this is a guy that I think you should almost reward for how hungry he is and he wants to get into the lineup. He's come into camp a lot heavier this year, right? He made some noise at the end of last year. He's shown out so far in preseason, and his reward is going to be Juuso Parssinen, who's playing significantly worse than you, gets your spot. Just something that doesn't seem right to me, I have to be honest. But let me know how you feel about that in the comments. Last thing we're going to touch on here in this episode is Alexis Lafreniere. We were calling from the rooftops last season, try this guy on the power play. Please, switch up the power play. Try something else to Peter Laviolette and company. And they're trying that. And obviously, it's going to be Quinn. He's running the power play this year. That's going to be interesting to see that dynamic, and Mika Zibanejad as well. That was clearly a move that they made on purpose. Obviously, it was on purpose, but with that in mind is what I should say. Mike Sullivan said on Alexis Lafreniere on Power Play 1, he said, if we're going to get the best version of Laf, I think we've got to provide a pathway to try and give him an opportunity to capture his very best game. I think some power play time on that top unit is an essential part of that. I love that. So far since Mike Sullivan's took over, I have to be honest, there's some things that I really, really hate. And that is that, again, the roster's not set in stone yet, but it looks like it's going to look a certain way. And I don't necessarily agree with it, right? So that I'm a little iffy on that. But stuff like this makes all the sense in the world. And this is the stuff that they should have been doing years ago. So he's going to come in. He's going to work with certain players. If you want Lafreniere to be a top scorer on this team, you should probably be playing with the best players on the team on the power play and getting that opportunity. So I'm excited for that. We also have another quote I want to get into here from Mike Sullivan. He said, on the power play specifically, if we're going to manage workloads appropriately over the course of the season, we're trying to get the best version of every guy. If we go to the same guys in every situation, insert Peter Laviolette here, my experience has been that adds up as forwards to 22 plus minutes a night. 22 plus minutes a night times 82 games is an awful lot of hockey. The pace of the game today and the physicality of the game, that's very difficult. We've got to find a way to manage their minutes. So if that means adding Lafreniere in there, and maybe, Trocheck was taking reps as well. We'll get to that in a second, kind of the stuff they're playing with. That makes all the sense in the world to me. And Mike Sullivan went on to say, I wouldn't see that changing much from the past, although I definitely do. When you have the type of players that we have, I think the top unit has had a lot of success with the group of players that have been here. There have been, and obviously Chris Kreider is gone now. Somebody has to fill in that gap. And I think Lafreniere should be there anyway because he needs that opportunity to put up points and to feel good about himself. Lafreniere can't just put up points 5-on-5. I do truly believe that. But I wanted to say we're trying to evolve with that group. We're trying to bring some different ideas to them. I think that will hopefully help them have more success. But I would envision that top unit will get a lot of time. So they're going to get a lot of time, but they're also going to rotate a little bit. And something I thought was very interesting here. These are the lines. We'll get to that in 1 second. The power play 1 just yesterday, the last practice they had, 2 days ago, they had yesterday off. Fox, Panarin, Miller, Zibanejad are on power play 1 with Trocheck and Lafreniere rotating reps. So that's kind of what he's talking about. Throughout the course of a season, might see Lafreniere on there. You might see Trocheck, depending on how things go. If Lafreniere is taking over, he looks good and he's having a good season, which we're all hoping he's going to because we need him to, then all is fine in that case. So I thought that was very interesting as well. And these were the last lines in the NHL, the main NHL group, since things are being split at this point. Guys are getting cut. People are being sent back to junior, all of that stuff. It's Cooley, Miller, Zibanejad, which I love. Talked about it through the summer. That is what that line should be. Love it. Panarin, Trocheck, Lafreniere. I don't hate that one. Othman, Parson, and Radish. Don't mind Radish there. I think Radish has a spot on this team. I think he should be the third line right wing. I like him. Othman has left a lot to be desired so far in this preseason. I have to be honest. I don't hate him making the team, but he has left a lot on the table, I think, and he could really show out in this game tonight. We'll see what happens if he even gets into the lineup. Parsonen has not done enough for me in some of the plays I've seen him make. Noah Laba should be in that spot. That fourth line makes sense to me. That's what the fourth line is going to be during the regular season. And the defense pairings, not a fan of Susie Borgen, I have to be honest, but the rest of it does make sense to me. And if Scott Morrow does start the year in the AHL, not the worst thing in the world. We were expecting him, I think. Some people, at least, and definitely us on the channel, were expecting him to make the team, but not the worst thing in the world. I just don't understand what happened to the whole trying Braden Schneider on the left side thing. I would say it's short-lived, but it didn't even happen. So, very odd to me. But those are the lines right now. Let me know who you would put in the opening night lineup for the New York Rangers, because we're just a week and a half away, or even less at this point, from that home opener. It's going to be very exciting. Let me know how you feel in the comments, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.